Now, you said you're going to do a little bit of the cooking. Now, do you do any of the cooking at home for the kids?
I'm a little bit more simple. Like I don't add all the extra stuff in it. Like last night, I went and got like this New York strip steak and I cooked like I love asparagus, so I'll do like just like the whole vegetables and like the like maybe like a steak and then maybe like some rice on the side, like super simple stuff. And I made this steak last night, and I went out on my grill. I'm the grill master. I've gotten really good at it. I like a lot of guys like to say they are, but I'm good. And got to the point where basically I could sight that steak and like, oh, it's done, and I take it off and it's perfect, right? And so yeah, I had this asparagus. I put it in the steamer, and I put like olive oil all over it, and I put a little bit of truffle salt all over it. It was delicious. I gave it to Saoirse. Saoirse ate it up. She kept asking me, more steak, more steak, more steak. I'm like, she's a little protein eater. Like, so yeah. That's the kind of stuff, or maybe like fish. I cook fish, but Lauren, and she's a little bit more advanced than I would be as far as cooking. I'm good at cooking pancakes. I could or make them, cook them. What do? You just put them on the griddle, you know. So I'm good at. They call me the pancake daddy at my house. I'm always making breakfast for the kids.
What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec Lace. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is Nick Carter. Nick Carter is a member of the Backstreet Boys. He is returning for a second interview on the podcast. I'm honored to have him back on the show. You can go through the archives of the podcast and check out my other interviews that I've done with Backstreet Boys dads AJ McLean and Brian Littrell, who both joined me on the show. But as for today, Backstreet's back with Nick Carter. Get down there, smash that subscribe button, tap the like, and let's jump into it right now with Nick Carter on First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, First Class Father, Nick Carter. Welcome back to First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember doing. I don't know if I interviewed with you. Was it you that we did?
I'm the only one here. Yeah, it's just a
That's
one-man
right.
band over here.
We were on the phone because I don't think I saw you. So it's good to see you in person.
That's right. Yeah, great to see you too. I guess I could say Backstreet's back here on First Class Fatherhood.
They've been saying it for years.
Well, listen, the last time I did have you on the show here, you had 1 and 1. You had a son and daughter. I said, you're going to try to break the tie here and go for another one. You said, nah, we're all done. So what happened here? Let's give an update on how many kids you have here and how old are they?
God, that was the last time we spoke. I only had 2, and it was done there. Yeah, it wasn't planned. And we were done at that time, but we now are in a place where I can't see it any other way. And the new addition, Pearl, my daughter Pearl, 7 months right now. Time has been flying, but just such a joy, and I'm so happy that she is in our life.
Yeah, well, congratulations. And I was following you closely there when you put the post up there. I was praying for you. I know you had some complications. If you could, maybe what you can, if you could walk us through. Obviously, the COVID-19 is a tough time for any parent. I would imagine adds to the stress level of having a kid during these last year and a half or so. So just walk us through the whole experience here, if you could.
Yeah, well, I think that was one of the reasons why we weren't prepared for it. And, there was definitely we just didn't know necessarily what was going to happen. And when we got to the place, especially when it came to COVID and came to the pandemic and all these other things, it's like there's all these questions and all these worries that you have as a parent, and then you finally go to the hospital and you're expecting things to be normal. And obviously I am on social media sometimes, and sometimes my heart gets the better of me, and I sometimes post things and I'm just like, oh gosh, but I felt like at that time maybe it would be, I was very emotional at that time, going through some emotions. And then Pearl came out, and she was suffering from she couldn't breathe, and there was her oxygen level was extremely low. And then they took her straight to the NICU, and it wasn't the same way last time with our other children. And so then we came into the room, and we saw her on all these wires were hooked up to her, and all these, and she was just, her color, she had no color. She was just like blue, and all these questions. We didn't know what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden too, like, you're dealing with, it's not a normal hospital environment. You have people who are wearing masks, who are being careful. You have these doctors who, and these nurses who are working overtime with all these extra, things that are on top of it. So it was really, it was very traumatic at the time. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. I had so many questions that weren't going to be answered, and they're like, well, we got to wait until her oxygen comes back. And then you as a father just sitting there watching your newborn, um, helpless and just really at the mercy of the care of these the doctors and nurses. And that's the thing too. I think it was important. Like, I'm like, we you have to realize, the pandemic and COVID has added so much to everyone's plate, in society, and especially, the frontline workers and the doctors and nurses. And so I was so grateful, even more grateful than before, because obviously when your doctors are taking care of you and your nurses, you're so appreciative. But the things that they went through during that NICU visit it was tough, and I saw what they were going through. But I told them when I left, I said thank you so much. I know, and I was just so appreciative.
Yeah, well said. And again, it's such a reminder of what a blessing it is to have a child. And it's like, I know just from going to the hospital myself with 4 kids, each and every time, you never know what other parents are going through while you're in there. So you are celebrating. You want to kind of keep things to yourself a little bit, because
Yeah.
while you're celebrating, others are suffering. So it's a kind of a weird spot sometimes. I'm wondering, what was the situation like, or what was the response like from your other 2 kids? Did they know what was going on? Were they aware that there were some complications? When was the first time that they got to see their baby sister? Was it in the hospital, or when she came home?
No, so obviously there was only a certain amount of people who were allowed into the hospital. It was just my wife and myself, and there, like I said, there was a lot of protective measures that were in place, and so we had to stay an extra, I think it was like 4 or 5 days, I can't remember how long, in the hospital, and had to just wait and to just wait. And so we were calling back home, and I know my sister-in-law and her sister and husband were at the house, and they were helping to take care of the kids, and we were just giving them updates along the way. And then finally, when we got the clearance to go, I mean, it was like we were able to exhale and to let go, and then finally kind of give a little bit of a celebration, to that. And so when we brought the kids home, or my daughter home, the, her sister and her husband and my 2 kids had made this banner that was basically like a welcome home pearl. And so I took some pictures of that, and I think I put it up on social media. But it was tough, but finally getting home and finally seeing her, and that she was healthy, and it wasn't going to be something, because for me, my only concern was this a long-term thing, and they said, no, it sometimes can happen. So.
Well, thank God for that. I had AJ on the show here about a month before your daughter was born, and I had asked him a question about how his kids interact with other kids from the band, and he was mentioning yours. He goes, "Yeah, and Nick is having another daughter." So people were responding to me all over the place saying, "Oh my God, he revealed the sex of the baby," and I don't know if he blew the.
Oh, it
I
was you guys. It was
see,
you
I don't know,
guys.
and I was like, "Oh no, I got caught." Did you guys do a gender reveal? Was that public? Did you guys have that out there?
I don't recall. I think we did. I don't remember if we did. I know we tried to do that before, but I think we just kept that one and more inside the house.
I was saying, man, it could be good for the show, but I hope he didn't let the cat out of the bag here,
Yeah,
So,
we were gonna reveal it, I think, when she was born. Yeah.
okay. And for my wife and I, as I mentioned, we got 4 kids. So going from 2 to 3, that was the most difficult jump for us, because our 2 older kids weren't old enough yet to be independent enough to take care of themselves, where they still needed a lot of our attention, as
Yeah.
obviously the newborn did. So what's it been like for you guys the first 7 months here of having 3 kids in the house? Have you guys adjusted?
Well, Pearl is turning 7 months right now, and she's pretty much just crawling around, and not. She's a joy. She's just like, she's a little angel. It's like, literally, she will occupy herself. But then Saoirse, who's 2 years old, we're going through that dynamic of, if I try to pick up Pearl, and if Saoirse's there, she's like, no, 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 put her down. No, me, uppy, uppy, me. So I have to basically pick both of them up at the same time and hold them like this. And I said, you like, this is your sister. You love Pearl, and like, we love each other. Like, just kind of like getting them used to that whole dynamic of loving each other, and knowing that because there is the delegation of the, trying to, you know, uh, attend to each individual child's needs at the time that they need you. It's one of the hardest parts. You're dealing with three different personalities, and so yeah, you're dealing with three different personalities and three different humans, and I love it, and it's hard. It is hard, but it's great all at the same time.
And they do. I find out with the four of them, Nick, is that, they each need that individual one-on-one. I try to make it a point, even if I'm just running to the store for a quick thing to grab eggs or something, I'll bring a kid with me just so they get that one-on-one time, because it's so important
Yeah,
to them. We may think of it as like, oh, just 5 minutes, but for them, it's the whole day.
it's so
Sometimes that
true.
dad took me for this special trip. So in their eyes, it's very important.
Yeah,
And
I'll never forget. I think I saw a commercial a long time ago that really stood out to me. It was a dad who was, it was like this some campaign, but dad was sitting down with his daughter. I think they were like having tea or something like that, and it said something like, just like 30 minutes a day or whatever the time was, like dedicating just a little bit of time a day is so important. And yeah, for me, I wake up every single day thinking like, okay, I want to do, and I need to do this with them, and I try to figure out things to do that are fun.
yeah, very cool. And since I asked you the last time, I might as well ask you here. Now you have a 2-to-1 advantage for the girls. You guys going to try to even the score, or are you guys definitely done for
No,
now?
no, dude, no, dude, no. We are done, done. Like, and I really truly love the dynamic that we have, because in my Saoirse, obviously, my wife and I, we have these conversations, and it's now Odin is 5 years old, and he's all about his mom. Like everything is like mommy, mommy, mommy. It's like I'm like, hey buddy, how you doing? How was your school today? He's like, everything's great. Where's mommy? You know what I mean? And then where's mom? And I'm like, she's okay, fine. But then Saoirse is like all about her daddy. So I told Lauren, I said, you know what? I'm really sad. I said, right now, Odin doesn't even care about me. He just wants you. She goes, well, you know what? I'm really sad too, because Saoirse only wants you. He doesn't care about me. So I don't know if you've gone through that, but it's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, and it's always nice when they want the other parent when they need a diaper change. You're like, oh, don't you really want to go see mom? As they say, oh yeah, get over there. So sometimes
Yeah.
we've done things like that too, where I'll know that the dirty diaper is coming, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me go grab something real quick, and then she'll get that whiff coming through. Oh, I know what you did over there. So we
Yeah.
definitely do things like that.
Yeah.
And I know you have the Cure for Kids, the virtual celebrity holiday cooking experience with the sing along. Obviously, as we mentioned there, having kids is a blessing. Some parents are going through some very difficult times with their kids. So, what is the Cure for Kids virtual celebrity holiday cooking experience and sing along? What is it all about?
Well, you can go to cureforthekids.org to learn all about it, but I'll give you a little brief on it. It's basically a fundraiser for 2 hours that I'm setting up with this foundation that I've been involved with in Las Vegas for the past 5 years that I absolutely love. What they do is 100% of the proceeds go to taking care of families who are in need and who are actually dealing with childhood cancer. And so you can literally go to cureforthekids.org if you live in Nevada or you live in like some of the neighboring states as well, and they will help take care of you and your child 100%. And I've been talking to them for years. I'm trying to find ways to like even raise more money and awareness for the foundation. And we came up with this idea of this cooking celebrity chef comes into the household, mixologist and kids running around setting up the house, inviting like people in on a Zoom. If you do go to cureforthekids.org and you do register, you will get the recipe sent to you. They are going to cook in the house, and so we'll all cook together. And then at the end, I'll probably perform a couple songs, who knows, on a little karaoke machine. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just really honestly, I think what you said was the most important message is that we are all fortunate that a lot of us are going to be able to be at home with our families. And there's other people out there who are going to have to spend, their holidays in the hospital, and especially dealing with, childhood cancer. And I think that that's what we're doing is trying to raise awareness and some money, for those families in need, and that's why I'm happy that we're involved with the foundation.
Yeah, I love that part about you, Nick. I know last time you were on here, you were talking about the volunteering, getting water to the frontline workers because the
Yeah,
pandemic was very fresh, and now you're doing it with the kids. So it's definitely, especially around this time, we need it out there. There's so many families that
yeah,
can use the help. So I'm definitely going to put the link in to Cure
yeah.
for Kids in the description of the podcast episode. Now, you said you're going to do a little bit of the cooking. Now, do you do any of the cooking at home for the kids? Do they? How are the kids
I
as far
do,
as your other two,
I
as far as
do.
eating? Do they have a
Oh, so,
dish that they like
I,
the best?
I'm a little bit more simple. Like I don't add all the extra stuff in it. Like last night, I went and got like this New York strip steak, and I cooked like I love asparagus, so I'll do like just like the whole vegetables and like the like maybe like a steak and then maybe like some rice on the side, like super simple stuff. And I made this steak last night, and I went out on my grill. I'm the grill master. I've gotten really good at it. I like a lot of guys like to say they are, but I'm good. And got to the point where basically I could sight that steak and like, oh, it's done, and I take it off and it's perfect, right? And so yeah, I had this asparagus. I put it in the steamer, and I put like olive oil all over it, and I put a little bit of truffle salt all over it. It was delicious. I gave it to Saoirse. Saoirse ate it up. She kept asking me, more steak, more steak, more steak. I'm like, she's a little protein eater. Like, so yeah. That's the kind of stuff, or maybe like fish. I cook fish, but Lauren, and she's a little bit more advanced than I would be as far as cooking. I'm good at cooking pancakes. I could or make them, cook them. What do? You just put them on the griddle, you know. So I'm good at. They call me the pancake daddy at my house. I'm always making breakfast for the kids.
Well, listen, I cook almost every night for my family. It's one of the things I really, really enjoy doing. There's something about preparing the food, making it, and sitting down. We sit down and eat dinner, all six of us at 6 o'clock every night and eat dinner. We pray together, we eat together. It's my
Yeah,
favorite part of the day. And there's something so
yeah,
wholesome and so fulfilling about that.
absolutely.
So I really enjoy that experience. And obviously now we have Christmas coming. It'll be your first Christmas with the new addition to the family here. Do you guys have any kind of Christmas traditions that you do? Are you involved with the elf on the shelf at all? What do you
We
got?
are. How do you know? Who told you? No, we are doing the elf on the shelf right now, and every single morning when they wake up, those elves they just show up out in individual like places. Who knows? Never in the tree, and the kids are finding them. Yeah, the elf on the shelf is a lot of fun. We always do these like matchy onesie nighttime. I don't even know what they call them. Like, what do they call those things anymore? Like the when you sleep in them
The
in the
onesies, the
morning.
jumpers?
The jumpers, it's like whatever, yeah. So, but they're all holiday looking. So the whole family's wearing those, and then obviously we wake up in the morning, and the two traditions that my wife actually has introduced me to are a little bit more of like the Spanish influence. So she'll make like this pozole the night before, which is so delicious. And I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a kind of like a Mexican dish. It's like a super spicy soup, and then the next morning it's like tamales, and then later on the day then we're doing the turkeys, and then and the the traditional stuff. So yeah, anyways, like just those things, obviously I guess you can call it a tradition. I've been battling this tree. Thank God it looks this way, because it didn't look this way for the past couple of days, because I've been in tree wars, they call it. And basically, so I it's a tradition. I will go to the storage unit, get all of our Christmas ornaments out for the front yard and for the trees and stuff. Past 2 years, it's been fine. The bulbs worked, and all of a sudden I pull it out, none of the bulbs were working. So I had to go to the store and get this little device, this little red thing, test each and every single bulb, and like I was just going, oh my God, it was. And my daughter came out, she was trying to help me, and it was just a nightmare. So I was having tree wars. That's a tradition, not a great tradition. I even got, it's funny too, Kevin. He saw my Instagram post of the tree, and he texts me. He goes, hey man, you should get this instead. It's like there's some tree like folds down and goes up, and it's like because I had this thing in segments, and I had like test one like section out, then it had to test the next section out, and and so he's like, you should do this, and he's like, I don't wish this on my worst enemy, this tree situation.
Well, let's say, do you have a favorite Christmas song that you really enjoy, particularly singing? Do you have a favorite song that you like to either hear or sing?
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Yeah, that's the one we love.
I love that.
Or Grandma got ran over by a reindeer. I like that one too.
You got to have a little comedy into it too. Yeah. So let me ask you about your new single here, "Scary Monster." What was the inspiration for that?
Well, actually, I've been doing like these little one-offs for just fun because what entertains me, and I've been doing like this cryptocurrency trading and playing with that, and NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and I collect like this artwork, right? And so I saw this like token that's called Xenu, and I did like all this research, and it seemed to be like a legitimate project that they were going to actually be releasing some NFTs, and so I said, well, can I create like, because I love zombies. I did a zombie movie, and I've done like, I just love scary stuff, and so I wrote this song, "Scary Monster," as a theme song for the Xenu token, and put that out around Halloween, and it was a lot of fun. And then I put it out, and people like it. It's just a one-off thing, but really kind of like just for that token.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, I love the old horror movies. It's something that I share with my kids. They actually had one in a local theater here playing the original Invisible Man and the Wolf Man on Halloween. So I was able to,
Oh,
I love all those movies. We watched them every October, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, the whole bit. So I'm definitely
yeah.
into that as well. And I know the I Want It That Way just hit 1 billion views on YouTube.
Yep.
What a milestone that was. So what kind of I know we're coming to the end of the year here. What kind of projects or goals do you have or plans for yourself in the future here, Nick?
Well, I think the most important project is I'm working with this company called Humble, HUMBL. They have an application on the App Store called Humble Pay. And what they are is a blockchain company that also has a marketplace, and they're doing a lot of really innovative and progressive things in the blockchain community. And I'm working with them to release an album, an NFT blockchain album, a solo album that should be coming out in the first quarter of next year. And I'm really excited. The music has a very almost like pop R&B flavor to it. Been working with an incredible producer named Vic Martin, and we're almost done with that record, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But I think more importantly, how we're launching it and what we're doing with it is really not been done that much and not been done successfully when it comes to releasing NFT music based albums. So I'm look forward to releasing that, and I hope you guys enjoy that.
Wow, very cool. Look forward to that. I know everything you touch seems to turn to gold here, so I'm sure it'll be a successful one, no doubt. So last thing I want to hit you with here, I love to ask all the dads. I asked you last time. We'll see what you got for us this time. What kind of advice do you have for that new dad or for that about to be father who's out there listening?
Well, I think the most important part is, pay attention to, the be in the moment. Be in the moment, enjoy every single moment, because those they grow up so fast, and before you know it, you're going to be wishing that you could go back to that moment when it all started. So every single moment that you get with your child, try to tune out the outside world and just focus on the job at hand, and that is realizing that this is a human, a little human being that wants nothing but love from you, and wants and doesn't know anything in life other than you, and just be focused on that and pay attention to that, because that's the most important thing in life.
Very well said. I love the message. Been an honor to have you back, Nick Carter. You're a first class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here on First Class Fatherhood.
Thank you.